Look, I'm gonna be honest with you. Fall 2025 is not the best season of all time. But I found 6 animes that I think it's worth recommending. I usually divide these animes into two. Dude, it's only 6 animes, so you gotta watch all of these. And I'm pretty sure 6 of these animes are good. First show that I want to recommend is Shumatsu Touring. Shumatsu Touring follows these 2 girls in this apocalyptic Japan, and they're just like touring apocalyptic Japan. You got this one girl who's just a normal girl with like a little bit of a backstory, and like just a robot girl. Now, you might be thinking, dude, this is like Girls Last Tour vibes. There is some Girls Last Tour emotional mess going on, but I don't think that's the main appeal for Shumatsu Touring. The main appeal is just the beautiful scenery of apocalyptic Japan. You get to see a bunch of like places, but like in this like apocalyptic setting. Shumatsu Touring is basically like if someone made an art book and adapted an art book. The second show I want to recommend is Alma-chan Wants to Be a Family. Alma-chan is like this war machine android little girl, right? Being made by these 2 doofuses who can't figure out that they like each other, but they'll find out soon enough, right? The main appeal for Alma-chan Wants to Be a Family is this cute, lovely, little lolly cyborg machine who gets into like these random messes as your typical anime lolly robot gets into. Tojima wants to be a Kamen Rider. So we followed Tojima since he was born. He was into Kamen Rider. And he's been training to be a Kamen Rider, even to the point where he gets to beat up a bear. But the problem is, fighters sent to him, they don't exist in this world. So he's just like, he's a bit sad in his life. You know, he can't be a Kamen Rider. He can't just be beat up fucking random fighters. Until one day, these fighters show up. And, you know, at first, it's just a bunch of Yakuzas just dressing up as fighters because I guess it's funny. But it turns out real fighters actually exist. And this guy, Tojima, is just trying to beat up these supernatural beings as with like this Kamen Rider mask. I think the comedy bits it's very much like old man anime comedy, and I sort of fuck with that. It's just a fun ride, especially if you grow up watching Kamen Rider. Yana-kun's Ordinary Days. So Yana-kun is basically like if Cam Skatteboo didn't raise up in the hood. You know what I mean? He keeps on running into poles, but instead of being stronger with a CTE, he just keeps on running into poles because he has brain damage. Every time he goes to school, he has a bunch of scars. This girl, Yoshida takes a liking into Yano. Yano's like sort of this like chill and nice guy. So the story basically follows Yoshida trying to convince Yano, who is just full of CTE at this point, that, hey, I actually fuck with you heavy and we should like go out together. But Yano is just like completely oblivious. It's really cute. The animation is actually really, really nice. It's being done by Ajiado. And I think the bits are sort of fun. Hands off Kote Sashi-kun. So, this is an ecchi, right? And it's 12 minutes long, as per usual with ecchis. The plot of this ecchi is there's this guy who's really good at massaging. He has to massage these girls. And these girls get so much pleasure from these massages. It's to the point where they're like having orgasms. The special thing about this ecchi, right, is that, you know, sometimes ecchis are sort of like stingy with their titty shots, right? Sometimes you'll get like 1 or 2 titty shots in the whole 12 minutes. Not in the case with Hands Off. Like, if the premise or the setting befits a titty shot, they'll just show you a titty shot. No random bullshit that goes wrong. Just a random titty shot. I'm not sort of fuck with that, you know? I like an ecchi that just shows you a titty shot without even asking for it, without even the setting like really needing it. And last but not least, Sanda. I know that it's technically still like Halloween season, but when Halloween season is eventually over, this show is going to hit. The show follows Santa, who is the second coming of Santa Claus, I guess. And every time he wears a red shirt, he becomes Santa Claus. There's this girl, Shiori, who has a friend who like died, but no one like really cares. So she like threatens Sanda to be like, yo, dude, can you help a brother out and like help me find this girl? I'm pretty sure she's still alive. And so Sanda, being like this 14-year-old who like, you know, wants to help children because he's also Santa Claus, like decides to help out Shiori. And like it's also taking place in dystopian Japan where like kids are like being very monitored very closely by some strange adults. I like the setting, I like the animation. It's being done by Science Saru, the same people who brought you Dandadan. I don't think it's gonna be as fun as Dandadan. I don't think the writing is as tight as Dandadan, but the animation is some really, really fun stuff.